call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside. There should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody to be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley. Back at a daycare in Minnesota, he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
People are going to say this is a left or right issue, and so I'm not out here trying to put a twist on things.
Shirley's viral video, released over the weekend, in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community, was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance.
We're from CNN. Can we talk to you? Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments.
And why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares, no children, they're receiving millions of dollars. We have $110 million in fraud in one day.
Intrepid journalists have made shocking and credible allegations of extensive fraud in Minnesota's child care program. We believe the state of Minnesota has allowed scammers and fake daycares to siphon millions of taxpayer dollars over the past decade. Starting today, we require a justification, receipt, or photo evidence before we make a payment.
The Trump administration says it is now withholding all federal child care funding to the entire state. The agency says the state receives $185 million for 19,000 children, and now that money will be gone. And the agency did not specify any alternate plans for families who will be affected.
At the daycare where Shirley showed back up, a stream of children walk inside.
You're saying that this is a fraudulent daycare. There's kids being dropped off right now.
Yes, the Commissioner of Children literally said a week ago this place was closed.
Did you know
They're
that?
showing face right now.
DHS and the FBI said they were surging resources to Minnesota to investigate what they called suspected fraud sites. This all comes in response to a viral video posted by a MAGA content creator. He claims that he uncovered widespread fraud by Somali-run child care centers in the state. CNN is looking into those claims and has not independently verified the accusations, but the Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services is taking the allegations at face value. However, the so-called evidence comes from a man who has posted anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant content in the past. CNN's Whitney Wild speaks to the man behind that video and takes a look at his claims.
People are going to say this is a left or right issue, but no, fraud is fraud. And so I'm not out here trying to put a twist on things.
Shirley's viral video, released over the weekend, in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community, was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. In the video, Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
Did you come during their normal operating hours when you came to visit?
The point of it is not whether or not I came at the right time of their operation hours. The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside, and there should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody to be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a
There
daycare.
should be a reception. Why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Federal law enforcement has been investigating fraud in Minnesota for several years. Both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said on social media they've indicted dozens of defendants. DHS has posted multiple videos of agents they say are conducting a massive fraud investigation.
We're from CNN. Can we talk to you? Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on, for years.
And why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares, no children, they're receiving millions of dollars. We have $110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
We showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100%.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
Have you seen the videos, purporting that some of these daycares don't have kids inside?
Minnesota Republicans say despite the new focus from the Trump administration, they have been sounding the alarm on fraud for years.
We have talked about fraud. We have gotten stories. We've tried to push this forward every way that we can.
A viral video, disputed claims, and their full fallout remains to be seen. Dozens of fraud cases that DOJ is touting began during the Biden administration. Back in 2022, the U.S. Attorney's Office for Minnesota announced 47 indictments for this massive fraud scheme. Since then, they've indicted more than 30 more people, and in total, they have secured at least 56 convictions. Whitney Wild, CNN, Minneapolis.
Wow. Just wow. You know, Nick Shirley, who broke the story on the Somali child care center, he does the digging. He asks the uncomfortable questions. He puts the facts out there. And now, CNN is investigating him. Let that sink in, just for a moment. Instead of focusing on the issue he exposed, the spotlight magically shifts to the person who exposed it. Funny how that works. When you challenge a narrative, suddenly you're the problem. Yeah, this isn't new. It's just a pattern. Whistleblowers become controversial. Investigators become targets. Messengers get attacked so the message can be ignored. You don't have to agree with Nick. You don't even have to like him. But when journalists start investigating other journalists for breaking a story, that should concern everyone. Because today it's Nick Shirley. Tomorrow it's anyone who dares to ask the wrong questions. Pay attention.
Here in Minnesota, massive fraud is taking place within the government and the Somali population. Here, this building alone, Quality Learning Center, is a daycare, yet they spelled learning wrong and they said leering. This daycare alone in 2025 has received $1.9 million from the government. And the strange things about these child care centers is there's no one here right now. It's midday on a weekday. If you were to try to go inside, it's completely closed and the windows are all blacked out. No one's working. Midday, children should be in here, and this place is licensed for 99 children, and this is the outside. There's no windows, no nothing. And like I said, they literally spelt the word wrong on their sign. This is open and blatant fraud taking place here inside of Minnesota. The government is complicit with this, and this is just one of the hundreds of child daycare centers here inside of Minneapolis being ran by the Somali population. It's sad that it's happening here in Minnesota, and it stinks that it's happening and it's being labeled on the Somali population. However, that's just the facts of what's happening here inside of Minnesota. $1.9 million for this daycare center that can't even spell learning right. Then we headed over to the next building that had 22 of the same home health care providers operating from inside of the building. Here you have multicultural home care. And right here it says it's open, but can't even get in. Another Reliance Recovery Center. Mercy and Grace Care, Inc. Right here you have Denden Eritrean Youth Development Association of Minnesota. Another child care center. Welcome to Bright Beginning Center. But what do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Comments, sorry. No comments. Can I please?
Right here you have Serenity Quality Care. All of these businesses are literally the same type of business, providing the same service in the same building. Another Convenience Home Healthcare Aid Inc. and Child Friendly Space. All these companies get money from the government. Why would you have the same company essentially inside of the same building, door to door? Right here, Queenly Home Healthcare. It just does not make sense. If you were trying to operate a business, you'd want to have less competition. But here, they have all of their competition right next door. We're wondering, why is there so many of the same companies inside of this same building?
No, I don't know that.
What do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't have any idea about that fraud, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
What do you think about the news articles and what's being spread on the news about the fraud?
Right now, you are doing something wrong.
I'm just asking you
No, you
about
don't
the
have
fraud.
to ask me, okay? Don't ask me that question again.
Okay.
Okay?
Who can I speak to?
Yeah?
Who can I speak to? Okay. As soon as you confront about the fraud, they get angry. When these people have these home healthcare companies, you're seeing them everywhere inside this building. What kind of fraud are they committing?
So there's false documentation being submitted to the state of Minnesota for services never provided. They're having forms signed in advance for services that were then never rendered. As far as a year or 2 years in advance, they'll have someone sign these forms at one sitting, and then they just file those with the state of Minnesota, and nobody from the state of Minnesota bothers to check that those services were ever provided.
So they're essentially just using people saying that they had these services provided months or even years ago, then filing the paperwork and then receiving money from the government.
Right, and the Somali community is a very closed community, so everybody's in on it, and they don't want to talk, as you can see.
And click, where are we going now?
We're going to a place called Mako Child Care, which actually has another child care registered at the same address called Mini Child Care Center.
So we should see lots of children if there's this child care center, especially if there's two.
The two of them combined are licensed for 120.
And how much money have these child care centers received?
In 2020, one of them received $1.3 million. In 2021, they got $987,000. In 2022, they got $714,000. That's the last I have for that one. And then the other one, $1.604 million in fiscal year 2025. Fiscal year 2024, they got about $800,000, and in fiscal year 2023, they got $904,059. This place right here. And between the two of these child care centers, they're pulling in about $3 million a year, and there are no children. Every facility as you go to, the windows will be blocked out so you can't see in. There's nobody here. You won't see a single child at any of these facilities.
There are indeed no windows. All the windows are blacked out right here. All right, let's go in.
No.
And the child care center is locked. Should we ring the doorbell?
Yeah.
Try to get in, ring the doorbell. Nobody showed up. They're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. it says here on their sign, yet there's absolutely nobody here. And this building here, right here, has generated millions of dollars, and it seems like business isn't even open right now, and it's a weekday. And if this was a daycare center, it wouldn't just be in some industrialized building. There would be maybe like a playground or something outside, or...
There's no play area for the kids. So where are the kids? Where's anybody? How can there be nobody here? And it's like this every single day. I've never seen a single child here. In 9 years, I've never seen a single child at this building. Right there.
Oh, then now it looks like we already got the Somalis coming through.
Yeah, they're coming. The word's out.
Hello, is this your daycare?
No. Can you tell us why there are no children? Have you ever seen children at this child care center?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Doesn't know if she's ever seen a child here.
Folks, somebody actually called one of the numbers of the Somali daycare fraud factories that Nick Shirley exposed yesterday, and you're not going to believe where that number led to. Holy mackerel, this is massive.
So guys, this is absolutely mind-blowing. So I was watching the most recent video by Nick Shirley exposing these daycare centers. Now, they're going daycare to daycare, and the next one that they go to is called Sweet Angel Childcare. This is where they show up to. And this is the business right here. Sweet Angel Childcare in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, listen to where this phone number goes to when you call this childcare center.
This is insane. Absolutely insane. Listen up.
Just wait for it.
Thank you for contacting the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Our office is located at 130 State Capitol at 75 Reverend.
Oh my God. I'll do it again. Sweet Angel Childcare. It goes to Governor Tim Walz's office. Why is a child care center directly going to the office of the governor? Make it make sense. Hold on.
Thank you for contacting the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
If this is not a direct link to Tim Walz and these fraudulent child care centers, I don't know what else is. Bro, this is crazy. I'm just in shock right now. I was recording a YouTube video and reacting to this video, and I was like, let me call and look up their Google reviews. I was just looking up their Google reviews, and I was like, let me call this number. and I call it and it goes to Governor Tim Walz's office. Make that make sense.
In the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Our office is located at 130 State Capitol at 75 Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, St. Paul, Minnesota 555.
Hello, Timmy. Hello, my friend. Timmy Walz, like Tampon Tim. You're like my best friend. Kidding. You're not my best friend. You're trying to destroy Minnesota, and I will not let you. You said you were a football coach, and you said I coach football, but in other words, you didn't coach football. You were the football. You know what? I'll tell you what, Timmy. You thought that you could fraudulize the entire childcare system in Minnesota, and I will not let you. Minnesota will not go to dump because of you. You said you wanted to be vice president of the United States, and I was like, what the hell? He's going to send us to, like, China with the communism and stuff, and I won't let you, Timmy. You and Kamala Harris will never be anything. Goodbye. This is what I said. You cannot do it. Do not dial this number. They might come after you like they're coming after my friend Nick Shirley. You don't want to do it. Just don't do it. You cannot be as brave as I am, Donald J. Trump. Goodbye.